Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, DJ. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Harvey.
Good morning
to everybody.
Good.
Good morning. Good morning. Good
It's a
morning.
beautiful morning.
Yeah.
Wait a minute now.
Sun is shining.
Right.
Man.
There's plenty of
So anyway, those of you who are using Microsoft, as you know, there's been an outage, and so you have people right now who are stranded at airports all over the country. Flights have been canceled. I think the outage happened this morning early, and I'm trying to think when I'm finally
I thought
getting
that happened yesterday.
No, it was
this morning,
just after
midnight, maybe 2.
I don't know, but Trump and his wife were able to depart this morning.
Oh, they're on a different frequency. They were talking about people with airline reservations, and they're not able to. I guess they were manually trying to put them in, putting the reservations in so people get on the flights and get their tickets. But hey, they get a chance to enjoy our beautiful airport.
Really?
We got to step our game up with the airport. Michelle hopped on that maybe a year or two ago.
She's been on it, and she's been talking
But
to the county exec too.
yeah, we gotta step our game up with our airport. It's dull. You know, we walked in. Well, I just walked in. You probably been here. Debo was like, we gotta liven up. We gotta liven up that airport, because whenever I go through the airport, it's like dim, real,
Right.
you know, monotonous. So we gotta
I
do
like
something.
when you go through Charlotte and you can do the rocking cheers.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. The Republican National Committee ended their convention last night. Keynote speaker.
And it's over.
Oh man! So
Well,
we
the
can.
construction, stuff it's probably still blocked off.
Well,
They said
would
they're
have
going to
it
be
by
taken
Sunday.
out Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, have you been down there though?
Yeah,
See the fencing? The
Mhm.
fencing is just.
I had got stuck because I wanted to get some wings, and I forgot about it last Sunday. And I'm all in the middle of it, and you can't get out nowhere. So you basically got to go out the same way you came in. And I just said, forget it, man. I went back home because I was
Where were you
running.
getting wings at?
I was gonna go to Point East.
Oh, so you're trying to get over to Juneau?
Mm-hmm.
Should have came the back way.
Right.
Yeah.
But
What, Van Buren? That way.
Yeah, come back around.
But I always
Because I think the perimeter went to the river.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, I think from what you're saying, the people truly appreciated Milwaukee. A lot of favorable things to say about the city. And when you look at it, they had perfect weather. It was hot on Monday, but after that, they just had perfect weather. So
they didn't leave with the same sentiments that their president spoke to before getting here. What did he call us? A horrible city.
horrible city. But I did get a fundraising contribution request from Cavalier Johnson. I guess there was a outstate congressperson who was saying that he just thought Milwaukee was a horrible city, and that he thought Cavalier Johnson was a horrible mayor. And so the mayor is asking people, I think, to donate $4.14. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if this is campaign or
414.
I don't know. I just got the, I get these fundraising solicitations, and just so people
They know you give.
No, I don't. I don't give to any campaigns. There's people that I know and I like, and I don't give to their campaigns. And the reason why I kind of look at it is because I'm sitting here, that people go in, and let's say I had a less than favorable conversation with a candidate, and then they notice, oh, but he donated to my candidate, my opposition.
Mhm.
So you just don't do it. People go through the campaign finance reports to see who does the giving. And I haven't. I think the last person I donated to was maybe 10 years ago, and that was Gwen Moore. There's only been 3 or 4. I mean, I do it. Certainly, Lena Taylor was one in the past that I had sent a contribution to. And there was a friend of mine who ran for alderman Bill Raspberry, I supported him. But it's certainly now at WNOV, I don't. I know other people do, but I don't. Even I don't go to fundraisers.
So you don't even endorse a candidate?
Oh man, I never have. Not that my endorsement would matter, but no, I don't endorse.
Keith,
I don't.
You have tens of fans.
I know, and I don't really want to unduly influence the tens of fans that I have to say, you need to vote for DJ. I don't want to put any, undue pressure on them. But just as a general rule, I was talking to one of my colleagues at another media outlet, and we were talking about this, and I kind of said to him, like, dude, I don't get down with the Republicans, but I don't get down with the Democrats either. And what I mean by that is I used to be, back in the 80s, I was a member of the Democratic Party. I have not been a member of the Democratic Party since the 80s. And now,
when you say a member, speak to that.
I was a member. I was a card-carrying member of the party.
Card-carrying member.
Right. And, but it wasn't anything other than I either just kind of fell away. I wasn't actively or as actively involved in the partisan politics piece. And then the radio gigs happened, starting at GOB and now WNOV. So it's just a lot easier that way. I think when people come in and have a conversation, they want to feel like they're getting a fair hearing. That's just, and I try to as much as I can. There are people I don't like. There are people I do like, right? But
I mean, there are people you don't like.
Oh man, I got a list. But what can you do? 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. If anybody has some thoughts, did you watch the acceptance speech last night? I didn't realize that it had gone. I don't know if people had noticed. Part of my job is that I watch the different candidates. So when they're doing rallies, I'm watching that. And I noticed that Trump's rallies, he has been up a long time. When he was here in Racine, he talked for over an hour and 10 minutes. So just based on recent history, that hour, hour and 38 minutes last night? That's, it's kind of par for the course.
He's a rambler, though.
Right.
But
and
they said
then he often goes
92
off
minutes.
script.
92 minutes last night.
92, 93 minutes.
He often goes off script too, because there are excerpts of his speech that were given out prior. Now, obviously, they're not going to give out the entire speech, but there were excerpts given, and so they were able to, right after the speech was given, say, "Oh well, he has his,
One of those
normal rambling sessions."
But they spoke to. I was listening to a commentator this morning who was saying how when he opened his speech, he was talking about unity and we've got to, we're all one. And then before he ended, he was right back to his ramblings again of bashing, basically.
Well, and that's the whole piece. I don't know if he truly had a come to Jesus moment that people were hoping for, that, we get a kinder, gentler Donald Trump. It's hard for a leopard to change his spots.
He was more calm than usual.
He was calm. Well, I think because he's old.
But all of it is relatively speaking.
You said what? Because he's old?
Because he's old. And it's been apparent that he's old.
When I bring up age, it'd be an issue. But
I think he was high last night. I think he was high.
It was relative. It's relatively speaking because he's
he
always
on pain meds of some sort.
Potentially.
Pain med for what?
For the wound. He was wounded.
Wounded knee. But
he was wounded in action.
He was, for the most part, he was pretty tame.
No, you fell asleep. He went back to old Trump about a half an hour in.
He
went back to old Trump. He wasn't going to change this idea.
I mean, he was. We're going to shut down quickly.
He was lying.
Yes.
And but I saw a less enthusiastic
initially
Trump than
as the night went on.
And maybe because he's 78, 79 years old. Everybody's been focusing on Biden's age. It's only a 3-year difference. And so this whole thing, and even the whole narrative that they're creating out there, it sounds like the legends of Davy Crockett, that, hey, and you're hearing these people, that's not what we saw. We didn't see him being taken down by the Secret Service. He went down on his own.
Joe did.
Yeah, he did.
And then when they're trying to get him up, he's worried about things he probably shouldn't have been worried about. Should have been worried about getting his ass off the stage.
He told my shoe.
Right. Where's my shoe? So he dealt with all of that.
But they said that the shooter was down. They clearly told him,
right,
like it's all good.
The threat is good. But then
I'm on my shoe.
But then they were saying he was making it difficult for them
he
to
kept
move.
trying to stand.
Well, we've seen that, haven't we, Debo? We saw that with Patti LaBelle. She didn't want to get off the stage, right?
What the hell y'all talking about?
Wait.
Bomb threat, what?
So it but listening to the speech, it was so. But look at everything that led up to the speech. I mean, we should have known when Linda McMahon came out where we were going. So, we basically had a WWE.
Mm-hmm.
What is Kid Rock famous for? Does Kid Rock have a song that we're supposed to know?
I don't know.
Not for me.
But he came up with a rap last night. Fight.
Only thing I remember Kid Rock from is the movie Biker Boys.
Okay, well,
that's what I remember doing.
Strong supporter of Donald Trump.
Hulk Hogan.
And that's part of the reason why I fell asleep, because they had all these people talking and they was talking long. Like, man, go sit down, man.
But did you see Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, man.
He could barely get out the t-shirt.
I never liked dude.
I never did either. I mean, and so you got that, and then what's my guy, Dana White?
Yeah.
Someone said, and I said this yesterday, we were having this conversation about Biden, and I said, look, what we witnessed at the Republican National Convention is an echo chamber, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is playing to the base. This is the point I was trying to make to Michelle. This wasn't directed at me, you, and Debo. Right. I mean, they did some nominal things where you bring in some black folks and you think black folks, oh, man, I see Amber Rose and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump. It don't work that way. So it didn't. I don't know if it moved the needle. I think it confirmed what people who are not part of the MAGA cult really believe.
Yeah.
That this guy is a imminent danger, and all the proof
was his
is
followers.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked me, what was your impression when you were down at the convention on Monday? I felt like it was white. And here's the other thing, and I shouldn't be so lazy. I'll pull it up. So on Monday, I will have this. I was going to pull up to see what was the average income of the participants of the convention, because these are not rich folks, right? The rich folks, you got the donor class, but you're looking at these are just regular run-of-the-mill people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not overly concerned. Now, we have to deal with the 800-pound gorilla in the room,
mm-hmm.
which is what is Joe Biden going to do?
Right. I mean, because I'm from the cult or group of people that was never ever considering voting for 45. So but looking at the convention, if I was an undecided person, the only thing that would sway you to vote for him was what happened Saturday, and the theory and theme of like overcoming, and even when they throw their darts, you still are able to, attempt to complete the mission. That will be the only thing that I can see an undecided voter sway over.
What the hell are you talking about, DJ?
Because people
like a hero.
trying to,
Hero.
They are looking at him like a hero.
No hero.
Well, I think that people are kind of figuring it out now.
They sympathetic to it.
Right.
His life was,
I can't believe
in danger.
I can't believe you would fix your mouth to say that.
No, I think he's right.
Right?
So
what you talking about?
He's gonna get sympathetic votes? Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Nah.
That's why do you think they played up? Why do you think they played it up the way that they played it up?
You saw
that big old pamper on
you saw
his ear.
you saw Boys in the Hood, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
You remember Trey?
Yeah.
He got sympathy play, didn't he?
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't think he could get sympathy votes by getting shot at?
When you have been Donald Trump and your character and everything else that you've displayed,
But anything
there are
can
those
humanize
just
something.
listen, but just as there are those who, okay, if we go with your scenario, do you think that he could have lost any votes? Because now people understand maybe he has been a jerk, maybe he has been racist. You know, you don't think nobody would decide, man, I'm not riding with dude
Because he got shot at?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think so,
yeah. I mean,
there's
it could work both ways.
but there's precedent of that because
Hey, he got shot at. I'm
when
not
Ronald
gonna vote for him.
Reagan got shot in
Mhm.
81,
Mhm.
Ronald Reagan received an enormous amount of sympathy, and they were able to pass these bills, and I think it was democratically controlled Congress. He got bills through based on the whole sympathy piece. I think that when you heard the narrative all week long about how he got shot, but he got up. Wow. Y'all try to make it
fight.
You're trying to make it, and I'm trying to do this delicately. It wasn't like he took like the bullet like really lodged in him.
Mhm.
So I mean, right. No one should be taking shots at political folks or anybody for that matter.
He got
But
grazed, man. The man didn't even get shot.
and seeing that so people who are not supportive of Donald Trump, that's how they're looking at it. We had 2 days of conversation.
You can't go there though.
Go where?
Because if it was up to him, he wouldn't have been shot at. All we have to do is
I agree with that.
if there was an attempt on his life, and albeit unsuccessful attempt,
Why?
we
We're
don't know.
still
The
trying to
man is
figure out the
dead.
why. We're still trying to figure out the why.
We don't know because there's conflicting information on him anyway. Because he was supposed to be he's 20 years old.
No.
He's yeah. Just wait.
You missed it. You missed
no,
it. You missed
no,
my
you
question.
missing the point. The
No. I said you
one
missing my
is
question.
he is.
No, listen to his question.
Because
No,
the question
wait.
is why would you shoot at?
We
somebody?
don't know.
We don't know.
That's
Yeah,
and you're not
you
listening.
Know, you
No,
know,
you
you're just
don't.
not saying.
They don't have the motive of this
maybe
person.
sometimes crazy
but
things
They don't have the
both of y'all
motives
know.
of this person.
Why would a
I don't
20-year-old
know.
white boy shoot at Donald Trump?
because he's
crazy. He was a registered Republican. What are you
Exactly.
talking?
So
His
why would he
family's
shoot at Donald
Republican.
Trump?
Nobody knows.
Oh, we know.
You
People
don't
do
know.
crazy stuff, man.
You don't know.
Try not to use the S word. People do crazy stuff every day, and it makes no sense.
It made sense.
Well, to some people. Somebody.
So why
What
then?
didn't
Since
make
you,
sense
since
is
you
the
got
fact-
the answer.
Wait, what didn't make sense was the fact that he missed.
What's the reason he shot at him? You got the answer.
Look at Donald Trump's character
Okay. All right.
and all his antics and everything that he has done.
So this guy was so upset by that. Then
Oh yeah, that's why he at one time, you guys said the operative word was he at one time was a Republican.
he still was, and his family's registered Republicans.
Right.
Okay, fine, but that's not what y'all originally said.
What is
What
that?
do I
You said
originally
he
say?
at one time was a Republican.
No, I said he
He
is
was a
a
member of the
registered
A registered
Republican.
Republican.
I didn't say one time.
And then they said that now they've been
He,
able to
he
go.
has fallen back from that though. They also said that he kind of fell back from how he was approaching
But if
the
you
party.
because if you would have let me finish,
Oh, ain't
I
nobody
would have
cut you
said
off,
you,
man.
did cut me off
No, ain't
because
nobody cut you off,
I
man.
would have finished and said that he made a $15 contribution to some committee that supports, which is based out of Chicago, that supports young adults, minorities, and individuals
Getting
who
out the vote.
right. So
So he had to change
Obviously-
his heart and his mindset changed.
that's
But-
conflicting.
but what-
we don't know.
The problem that we have, and I say it often to the point I'm sure y'all tired of me saying it. Sometimes shit happens, and it makes no sense. I'm serious. Excuse that. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying, trying to get to it happens, and so human beings. Oh no, there had to be sometimes. Now sometimes it is a conspiracy. Sometimes it is concerted thing. We don't know that is the case now. Now, if the rumors are true that the day after Trump was out playing golf,
Yeah, exactly. Heard that too.
right?
I didn't hear that. What is that?
That he was out playing golf the next day.
So, people say they shot at, so it was perfect timing. If you want to go in and do a certain narrative at the convention, which kind of changed the whole approach. But again, your nature is your nature. And it takes a truly act of God to change someone's nature. So his nature has not been changed. The nature of the Republican Party has not changed. You know, if he was talking, because remember I asked the question when they said he was going to call for unity of who? Was he including me in that?
He was speaking unification of the party.
Of the party. And so even then, so of course he went back to,
but
to
you
where
never
it
have,
was.
but you never have heard him say that he is going to be the president for all people. You never heard him say stuff like that.
Well, he never has. And so I wasn't
but he said
expecting
that.
him.
But he said that yesterday. When I was speaking about there was a little bit of change in his message. It
We
was
can't base
Tone.
that off one.
It was tone. It got back to the real message.
He always is going to revert back to he's the best president and Biden is the worst president, but he's still,
even with the fireman's gear sitting
what
there.
Was that?
And he goes over and kisses the man helmet. What is that? Man?
But it took 2 days for him to reach out to his widow.
Then he pulls out $1 million check. Who was it addressed to? Him or the family?
I think that was like just a political show.
Man, it's optics, man.
Sure it is. And that's the look. Conventions are commercials. Conventions are commercials. If people thinking that you have statecraft going on, it isn't. It's a commercial for the head of the ticket, and then you hopefully people on the downside. And this is the
end of the day, like I talked about earlier, that could sway sympathy votes.
Okay, it could,
but that still, to your point, doesn't answer the question for the other side, because there are still people on the other side that are not voting for Biden. And so what can he do, or will he do, in order to sway those undecided voters? Because we already have something, albeit it be small,
because it's going to be
still have
something that ain't going to vote at
that
all.
can sway those people to vote for Trump.
What you going to do for those that don't vote at all? They just not going to vote. They're going to stay home.
And that's the couch. And
you never count those people. Who you're counting is the people that are going to vote for you no matter what, the people who are going to vote against you no matter what, and then those undecided voters who are still going to vote. Those people who we talking about the couch, they shouldn't be calculated anyway, because they're not entering into the equation.
No, but the couch is people who could vote. But who would vote?
But we already know that there is
make the difference.
In every election, we have about 100 million people vote. We have about 300 million people that are in the population.
But half of them are children.
So then we have another 100 million people that don't vote. Okay. And we have to understand that happens. But there's still a segment within those people that vote that are undecided and that will still vote. So you need to start tailoring to those people, not to the people who are not going to vote anyway.
But then you have to identify who those people are, right? And they said that this from the beginning was going to be a margin election. Someone said something yesterday. They were going like, you had people said, "Oh, Trump is going to get 300 electoral votes. You know, this is going to be a landslide." And this guy pointed out, he said, look, with all the troubles Biden's had, the only thing that Trump has gone up is by 2 points. And that's coming off the convention. So again, we hear the echo chamber, right? We're watching that. But then there were so many people out there who will never vote for Trump, period. And that's a significant portion of the population. So what they're hoping for is that the people who might vote will stay on the couch. You're listening to Community Voice. The phone line's open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
The Wisconsin State Fair is almost here. Are you ready for it? Snag your discounted admission tickets and more
Did I hear y'all say y'all like Hulk Hogan?
Did we what?
Did you say you don't like Hulk Hogan?
Nope.
Yeah, I said that.
Hey, I couldn't stand to me. And that whole convention was just so crazy, man. And somebody gets up and says, why am I echoing? Do y'all know?
You're not echoing on our end. That's on your end. You're not echoing over here.
Okay, yeah. All right, good. But they got up and they talked about how they're inclusive. Did anybody hear them? They said they were open to everybody. They had a big tent. Did anybody hear they say they want they open to the trans and man, I say they
No.
right?
No. Matter of fact, they say he can't compete in high school sports. They did make that reference.
Right.
I heard him say something about they can't play in women's sports. Women's sports, they specified.
Right. But
Right.
You know what though? It is a commercial, y'all. So when we're looking at it, this is not like Congress. It's a commercial for a party. We're gonna get, and I know you're gonna get a commercial when the Dems get to Chicago. You're trying to get your message out. It's a commercial. So when people kind of
Funny
going
thing about that, me riding over here, all of the RNC. It's like on the billboards and stuff, the digital ones. Several of them, they just all black now.
Yeah.
They're not showing them anymore.
What it could be, they
So,
could be using Microsoft too.
Immediately,
could be.
you leave and immediately it's taken off the board.
Well, no, like you said, there's a Microsoft outage, so
Right.
that could be part of the issue.
But to go in and see the different like Trump, that's a commercial, and we just happen to be the city of Milwaukee was a backdrop to a commercial. Chicago is going to be a backdrop to the commercials that the Dems are doing. They're trying to get their message out, and hopefully you're going to move voters. So, or you certainly want to solidify your base. You want to have at least making sure your base is straight.
I saw something on yesterday. I saw the family down there protesting down there. Where were they at? Do anybody know what site they were at?
They went Red Arrow Park.
The family.
Yeah, Devontae.
Devontae. I think it was Red Arrow Park.
Yeah,
because
they got a lot of press.
Hey, but y'all was talking about moving voters. They moved me. It was a great commercial. Dude's a rambling idiot, man. I can't believe we're talking about having this guy in the country.
Right, and then you had the unique experience of being able to experience that in person.
Yeah, hey, and I tell you that's another thing, Keith. That being down there, I was just thinking that just such a waste of money. Like what they did to the arena. They didn't just come in and set up. Man, they changed that arena all the way around. They had to take pictures to put it back the way it was when they first came in there.
Right. Oh, I just saw what they were doing up in the luxury boxes to create those basically little studios.
Right.
And it had the stuff they had to move all that stuff out and then go back.
Oh, so that's where the
some of the
they was in the luxury box. That's tight.
Literally, they were talking about there was 15,000 journalists from around the world. I started coming through the Baird Center. They had whole media floors there. Then I think over Panther Arena, they had. So I didn't get to Panther Arena, and then when you actually get in Fiserv, because my credentials allowed me then to be up in the press suite, which is what is that they call the concourse, right above the bowl.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and so you get around and you could see CNN, you could see Fox. They had, and then they still had people out in the plaza. So it was a lot of press, man. It was, I mean, you just, because this is existential, right? I mean, this is consequential. Who the nominee of a party could have impact, not just in America, but throughout the world.
Right.
So, but I think we can't get, the interesting thing was through all of this, watching this, we're also watching the drama unfold on the Dem side in terms of whether or not Joe Biden will remain the standard bearer for the Democratic Party. And where it's amazing. It's amazing because there are people in denial. Here's the other piece of it. Again, I don't get down with the Republicans. I don't get down with the Democrats. There are people who want Joe Biden to stay in the race because their self-interest is tied into Joe Biden. If you bring in another candidate, they bring in their own team. So the people on this current team may or may not be absorbed. And so when people are doing it, or the family, you know, your family, they like being the first family.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, and so when it's hard and they're well-meaning, but the question, and I heard this because the question I began to ask the question, because I have interviewed people who've come out, the surrogates have come out, had the conversation with them. They talk about Biden's record. He is probably one of the most consequential presidents we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
But then people are going like, okay, but is he the only one who can do this? And I think that was what we were kind of hearing. I was asking the question, okay, he was able to get us to this point. Are you saying there's nobody else in the Democratic Party that's able to do what he's done? I think they are. Now, who that is, now that's a big issue because you got, you know, the other 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is Kamala Harris, and how do you handle that, right? Does she, because she's been vice president, does she automatically ascend to the top of the ticket?
Which she doesn't have a good reputation. I think it's an unfair shake. She's been given an unfair shake, but you know, just nationally, people don't look at her.
What's unfair? What do you mean unfair?
It's unfair because we've never looked at or held a vice president candidate to the standard that people are holding Kamala Harris to, basically be out in the forefront.
I don't think so.
Shouting out whatever message it is. Like, you didn't ask for Biden to do this. You didn't ask for Dick Cheney to do this. You didn't ask for Al Gore to do any of this stuff.
Man.
But now, because it's Kamala Harris, she has to.
In recent years, DJ, vice presidents have become a little more in the background. But vice presidents used to be out there, brother.
Man, but we only talking about the last 30 years.
You wasn't here.
I'm 31. I was here.
Well, you don't remember, DJ.
I remember Al Gore. I remember Dick Cheney.
And you telling me Al Gore was in the background?
And even Mike Pence. Mike Pence wasn't in the forefront.
But let's back up, because the point that you're making
that's about 4 vice presidents.
But the point you make, because JD Vance is getting ready to catch it. They're getting ready to wear JD Vance out.
Oh yeah.
So it is the look.
She's getting an unfair shake.
She's getting this politics. And that's the thing when people use terms like unfair.
If Biden,
we use terms like moral.
If Biden pulls out, she has got to pick one hell of a vice president.
First of all,
I don't even think people will want her because of perception.
But your perception is based on either your experience, it's based on whatever. But that's every candidate. So when she enters into that goes along with it. That's the calculation that the Dems have to make. Now, not seeing any of this data, the polling that they have that says that she will do better against Donald Trump. Where DJ is pointing out something where, well, she got a problem with the base. Right. If nothing else, Donald Trump has a solid base. She does. There are some people within it. And then you get into the emotions. Let's say, because I think right now, if Biden decides to step away, they would do some type of hybrid kind of little primary that people go in, and I don't know then. Because look, the other piece of it is, this 2-year, 3-year election cycle piece is something that has just really started in 2000s. In the 1968 convention for the Dems, we didn't know who the eventual nominee was going to be, right? And had Robert Kennedy not been assassinated, they were going to have a broker convention. So the idea that all of a sudden, it's too late to turn. Seems to me that some of the people were saying that have a vested interest in making sure that Joe Biden stays on the ticket. Now, if that's where people are, but if the data is showing them that not only will it impact on the presidential race, it's going to impact down ballot, those are serious discussions. So we can get up and say we're doing it for the emotions and the rightness and he's a nice guy. But then the bottom line is Donald Trump could get in, and not only could Donald Trump get in, Republicans could take control of both the House and the Senate. Now, if y'all think that ain't no big deal, that is a big deal. And even though they might try to do a correction in the midterms, In 2026, the damage is going to be done between 2024 and
JD Vance's
2026.
spot will be open though, so that's going to have to be a special election that could potentially be won by a Dem.
Right. And I don't know. Obviously, they're going to appoint the governor is going to appoint a Republican if he has to appoint. It could be, but that's Ohio, and Ohio is becoming more and more red.
Right.
So, I mean, it wasn't the fact that you could take him. It doesn't hurt the Republicans because chances are he's going to be replaced by a Republican. Dev's got an issue in New Jersey because of Menendez.
Really?
And what's going to happen there. So, all right. I'm sorry. I went on a rant.
Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Thank you for taking my call, and good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There are so many scenarios that we could argue all day about. And the people that are sitting on the couch, they're going to stay on the couch. Don't worry about them. If they happen to come in, it's going to be kudos to one side or the other, the Democrats or the Republicans. But what was sad about this convention was this. Number one, normally, let me go back to the assassination deal first, which I still think is a lot to that we need to look into. Normally, when a president gets hurt, the doctors come out and say something about what that procedure was. What struck me as strange, he went and had a CT scan and then left the hospital. No other, we haven't heard nothing from a doctor's report about that. That seems odd to me. Next, his vice president, how sad. Here this brilliant man is, well educated. And this is what I'm talking about. You could be young, well educated, and still just not know what's going on. If Trump had came out there, pulled his pants down, and bent around for him to kiss his butt, he would have done it.
Most of them.
And that's sad to me.
Probably the whole crowd would have.
I believe in Biden. I think he could win. I'm not pledging my allegiance to him. My allegiance goes to the Lord. I'm in this because he's worked hard. But I don't give man no more power or authority over what I believe. We're going to be in a lot of serious trouble. Yes, we are. And then the next thing, maybe that young guy that did this, and this is just another thought, he's disappointed with where our country is going and in Trump. Any young person, this is what he's got to be aware of. Any young person that's saying, well, what does this guy really want? And people aren't even thinking, even the poor people in the rural areas, if they stop our Social Security, they're going to stop yours too. If he put ignorant people in position, he didn't fill the position the last time he was in office. He's not going to do it this time. So we have a lot that we have to work on. And if we don't work together, I'm going to do my part. Get out there, and when people come to their door and say, well, I'm not voting, I said, thank you, sir. Have a great day. And that couch that you're in, I hope it protects you in the rain. And when you don't have a job, you can go lay on that couch and it'll give you the comfort that you need. But the next thing is those of us that do the best that we can, that's what we should do. And I'm disappointed with the Democratic leadership, with their faces making us look like we're idiots. And behind closed doors, they ought to be badgering Biden to death. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And when
They
someone
are.
puts a mic in your face, just say it's up to him.
They are, but
Stop running around looking confused.
But they are, and part of it is what would be the long-term impact. So, for example, even though Black people right now are solidly behind Joe Biden, right?
Right.
I understand
And
that.
you know something that you're
Right.
not counting? If you had to look at all of those people in that arena, all of them didn't look like they were listening. Yeah, they were delegates that was there. And this one man, that I think they asked him, well, what is his platform or whatever? He said, I don't care what it is, I'm voting for him. You have some that think like that. You have one lady that
That's
said,
on both sides,
I don't
though.
think he's guilty of anything. They just drug him through the mud. Really? Is he supposed to be walking around like Jesus, never committed any sins? Stop fooling yourself.
But that's on both sides, though. That
and let
no
me
matter
just say one
what
thing.
somebody do,
What happened
they're
to
gonna
all
vote for
the
him.
money? What happened to all the money that people were going to make?
Well, that's a different discussion, I'm sure.
But you know something? I bet you Waukesha made some money. I bet you Lake Geneva made some money.
They did.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
But I think that's, I mean, really realistically, that's pretty obvious to know that like they wasn't gonna be supporting black businesses like that. Like just because you have an
And
event.
nobody alluded to black business even prior to this coming. It wasn't.
I mean,
about
but
black
whenever,
business.
but if you
It
know
was
that,
the
but if you
downtown
know the area, and if you know, it was an article that I read that they were talking about MLK Drive. If you know the area, you know the city. We are from the city. We know what type of businesses those are, and so.
But unless you make it a destination, and this was, look, even with white businesses, the hope was that, you know, you would have the Minnesota delegation say, you know, we want to have an event at your venue, right? So the people that were up in there, like I know the people up in the PAPS, but if you, like I said, if you were down there getting in and out, the people who were right there, I don't know how Goosby's did though, because Goosby's looked like the fence ran right on the sidewalk right in front of Goosby's. So the people obviously staying at the Hyatt, people staying at the Hilton on Wisconsin. So those folks who had to get back to there, they could benefit. And I don't know how well Third Street Market did, because again, there were people who were staying at those hotels that are adjacent. I think there's a Hampton Inn down there on Wisconsin Avenue. So it when you do those estimates, know that was for some people, but it was going to be tough for black folks anyway.
Right.
I mean, just because now, if you talk about the Democratic Party, that's probably different.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if.
But that's in Chicago. So.
No, but I'm saying even if it was here, it'd be a little bit different because it's a more diverse group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are they're going to be some black folks who are going to want soul food.
Right.
You know, I mean, but look, these folks coming from Montana ain't coming to Milwaukee for soul food. I mean, come on, really. That's not
Oklahoma
even
either.
Oklahoma. Now, maybe those people from Mississippi.
Maybe they may got some.
Maybe some good grits.
Yeah.
So anyway, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. I know we'll be listening intently to see what decision is going to be made, but the fact that Nancy Pelosi has weighed in, Chuck Schumer has weighed in, Barack Obama has weighed in.
And said what?
Even your speaker, he has weighed in also.
Hakeem Jeffries?
Mm-hmm.
I said what?
Well, they're kind of saying you need to look at the data. They're being very nice to him. Nancy Pelosi took him data, and he dismissed the data. So, I mean, I understand. But, you know, it opens up a whole question I know people are talking about because, you know, part of that, you know, the ageism, right? Is this a question?
No, it's not about.
Well,
so
hold on, let me finish, DJ. For some people, they're asking the question if it is ageism. For some people, it really is. For young people, what they're looking at is a 81-year-old man. They feel like they have
white
nothing.
man.
White man. They have nothing really in common with this dude, right? And again, for us to kind of dismiss the optics and perception of politics,
it is about age. It is about age.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
So
it shouldn't be.
Yes, it
should be.
should.
It should be about DJ. It should be about policy. What's going to be best for the country?
If it's not about,
who's going to put things in place?
If it's not about age, then it wouldn't even be an age requirement to even be a candidate.
And
for
as
president.
me as a black man, I really got to look at the issues because we already know that this Project 2025 that they're saying that there's so much in there. What is it, 900 some odd pages?
900.
And ain't none of it good for us.
Yeah, I think it is, and that
it's about age.
It's
and
a
you,
generational.
And you say it shouldn't be, but it's always been about age because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be an age requirement to even run for president.
You got to
He said
vote
it should
the
be.
issues.
He just said it.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be about issues.
He said that it should be about the candidate, but we have to think about.
We've been having these same issues. So we keep talking about the same issues over and over, and we keep bringing on the same type of candidates.
More credit than that, DJ.
And we keep bringing on the same type of candidates over and over. I thought you were, and nothing really be happening.
Protege or something, you know. I thought you had, you know. I can't believe that you don't understand that it's about the issue.
Debo, you don't want to go there.
Well, I mean, but it is
trying to provoke you.
Yeah.
But let's get back. here's the deal, and let's take it away from the national politics. Let's just put it locally. Locally, we're dealing with generational changes.
Right.
I mean, age is going to be an issue, whether you're too young, whether you're too old. And yes, you can be too old.
And
I don't know why people, and it's not a disrespect or you trying to diss Joe Biden. The question becomes whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump, you're not thinking the same way at 81 you were thinking at 31 or 41.
Right.
And again, the question I have to ask, look, I love Joe Biden. God love him. But he's not the only person who can be president on the Democratic side. And that's kind of how people are making it sound like, well, he's done. I'm down with everything that he's done.
But that's not what we're saying, Keith. At this late stage of the game, how will the Democratic Party and our ability or potential to win an election be affected if he steps away now?
How will, and we use
I mean,
how will it be effective
unprecedented.
if he stays in the race? Because he very well could lose and lose badly. But not only will he lose, other folks are going to lose.
We've been
Well,
dealing
just
with
as he could- just as he
unprecedented
could lose,
circumstances ever
Just
since
as
Trump
he could
entered
lose,
the thing.
he could win.
Okay.
Why are you counting him out?
I'm not counting them out.
The data
I'm just
shows-
counting. I'm not counting him out. I'm
So-
just looking at the numbers.
So if we're not gonna go off the data, then what are we gonna go off of? What could we say that are gonna make people feel better that he can win outside of hope?
That the man keeps his promises.
Stop it. We stop it.
but what if
We
what,
talk,
what if he don't remember?
we're talking about reparations in 2020, and we ain't,
What-
we ain't
what-
heard
what-
nothing
what-
about
He
what
that.
if
So
never
stop
promised
it.
you that.
Stop.
He
Yes,
never
he
promised you
did.
that.
But
Yes, he
promised
did.
you a
Yes,
black female vice president.
stop
You
it,
got
man.
it. He promised that he
What
would
I'm
put a
saying-
black woman on
what-
Supreme Court. You got it.
Keith.
what
Wow.
I'm
saying?
what I'm saying is what I'm saying is that he is not the only person who can do it. And if we're saying that, and look, we would have to make that decision in 4 years, right?
It's all about ideology, and his ideology has not.
No,
tapped
I think it's
into-
also about his abilities and how his abilities are diminishing, and we've seen it. So it's kind of hard. You cannot
But isn't that
unseen what
why-
you've already seen.
Isn't that
Right.
why you have a VP in place?
Okay, but then,
When you voted for him, you voted that ticket.
and if you notice when, especially Nikki Haley, when she was doing the primary, she said a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris, and because she knows among certain constituencies that Kamala Harris has negatives. That doesn't mean she can't win, but acknowledge that she has negatives. I have people a lot of times. I'm always amazed,
Everybody has negatives.
Nah,
but it depends on how much of a negative that you have.
I just talked about this earlier, that her negatives are within the same party that people don't even rock with her, and obviously the people from the other side is not going to rock with her. So what could you say that she can do
But there's a significant
out of
number of
these
people.
last 4 years that
there's
say,
a
"Oh, she
significant-
could beat Trump"?
There's a significant number of people, primarily black females, who, if you handle Kamala Harris wrong, they're going to set it out. That's where we are, because when people go in and look, again, I don't get down with any party. So I always have to take what people are saying when it comes from the party with a grain of salt, because I need to understand where you getting paid, right? Because if you sit up here saying how it's going to impact, and though you might not come out and say it, it could impact your bottom line and your pocket. Of course, the people who I want my guy to stay in because I stay in if my guy stays in. If my guy is gone, then I'm gone. So it's complicated. I know Debo raises the logistical issue of what can you do 5 months or 5 weeks before a convention. I'm just saying it's not unprecedented that
Right.
we've gone into a convention not knowing who the nominee was going to be for certain. That has happened.
And
There has been challenges, right?
And on top of that, ever since Trump ran, what was it, 2015?
Right.
Up until now, his whole entire run has been unprecedented with all of the stuff that's been going on during him, after him, and now ongoing. So we can't just say, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" We gonna figure it out, just like we've been trying to figure it out when he's been
But for us,
running.
who's us? But for folks to figure it out does not mean that it's not going to come with complications, right?
His presidency was complicated.
No, I'm talking about on the Dem side. I'm not talking about the perception.
But I'm talking about just America, period. I mean, Hillary was complicated. Joe Biden was complicated in 2019, 2020.
Well, I'm just saying it's
there is a solid notion that realistically the only reason why Biden even won in 2020 was because of former President Barack Obama and his association with him. People wasn't rocking with Biden.
And he wasn't Donald Trump.
And he wasn't Donald
He
Trump.
wasn't Donald Trump.
In 2020, both.
Hell, you could have beat Donald Trump in 20.
I don't know. But in 2020, both of these candidates are just like now. Like they wasn't the most popular candidates. But
Right.
we had to.
And there's some who are saying that this is a little bit of karma that's been visited on the Democrats when they pushed Joe Biden out in 2016 in favor of Hillary Clinton, right? And so then there were a lot of people, I'm assuming, who felt obligated that when he did run, we need to support him. We got that. And Joe Biden, let's not get it twisted, has been not just a good president, he's been a great president. So nobody's arguing what his record. The question is, though, is the future.
Right.
And that's kind of hard because
doesn't your age take into account the future?
It does.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying in terms, nobody's arguing that age is not a part of this equation. But Devo's point is correct. It shouldn't be about the age.
But you just
it should really be about.
But you say you have to take into account the future. Your age is a part of the future.
It should not be the primary reason why someone should vote. It is a factor. There are people who, I don't care if you're young, we ain't gonna vote for you just because you're young. That's real too. But the point is, and I think Debo's making this point, is that we shouldn't be looking at some of these kind of exterior things to look at questions of character. There's no question about Joe Biden's character. There's no question that Joe Biden doesn't love America. There's no question that we have not benefited from Joe Biden being president.
I'm getting sick of this love America type of talk too. Like that
you don't love America?
That type of talk is just annoying. Like,
and look, this was going to be difficult anyway. Again, we had a conversation.
What are you talking about?
This whole nationalist type of talk has a lot of racism behind it.
Of course it does.
And it's like, oh, I love America. So
you don't love America.
So if you don't rock with this person, they don't love America.
Yeah,
too?
That's what I'm asking, buddy.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not down with Trump. You don't love America.
That's what they. So that
I
talk
think
is annoying.
I think you need to get with the program, fella.
Yeah. Okay.
God love you.
God love you. You're listening to a community voice, trying to get his mind right. We'll be right back.
I'm not moving.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That live on radio this weekend or wherever.
Welcome back to Community Voice, and let me really commend my colleague.
What was that voice, Keith? Welcome back. You sounded all-
Oh, really? Okay, is that better?
There we go.
Welcome back.
God love you.
God love you. Let me really compliment my colleague. He has not taken the bait yet, so he's
I've been dangling.
You got him off his square. So,
but you know what that is?
When he was
But you know what that is, don't you, Keith?
What's that?
He's giving out passes.
I'm not giving out no pass.
He's giving.
He almost got you. He almost got you.
I thought it was no passes given, but I mean, looks like passes are being given today.
What have I been given a pass on?
You haven't, but he's trying to provoke you, man.
No passes given.
Well, as everyone, if you don't know, you should know. Tomorrow, Garfield Street Day.
Yeah.
Wow. Introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Good morning. I am
Oh, my policy.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's good.
Okay.
All right. I'm Melissa Whitaker Buford. I am the board chair and organizer for Garfield's 502 R&B Festival.
Oh, my. How many years have we been doing this now?
This is my second year, but Garfield Days goes back 20 years. We took a 4-year break due to, I believe, it rained one year, and then the next few years we took a break due to COVID, and we brought things back last year.
But Garfield was going even when Boobie was alive, wasn't it?
Absolutely. This Garfield Days, Boobies, Mac Weddle, those guys were Jewel Curry, which is the current owner of Garfield's 502.
Right. Even
They
Misters, because Jewel was down there
yes,
then, right?
it was
That's
a culmination of several bars and owners, entrepreneurs that put
Wasn't
on
there an
Garfield
attorney
Days.
involved?
Yes, and I'm blanking on the name, but there was an attorney
What
involved.
was his phone number? 444-4444.
You're aging yourself right now.
I was a Budweiser salesman at the time, so I remember when its inception, if you will.
It is.
Yes.
Is endemic. It's an indicator. We call ourselves the city of festivals.
Absolutely.
And everything from Summerfest to all the various ethnic festivals, all the street festivals that we do. And this is kind of in line with that.
Absolutely.
So what can people expect? Well, first of
So-
all, give us where will it be held?
Okay, so this year we are running the festival from 7th and Garfield all the way to 4th, and I'm going to say Vale R. Phillips. Mr. Debo corrected me yesterday on that.
Absolutely.
And we have right now about 140 vendors, food and novelty vendors, as well as educational institutions that will be there sharing information. This is a way to build not only economic growth, but economic development. So there's a lot of small businesses who look forward to this every year to showcase and platform their business. We also have 3 stages. Thank you to WNOV as our media sponsor, and they've sponsored the Jazz and Blues stage for us. Mr. Debo will be hosting, as well as
Keith, as all of our staff.
oh wow, appreciate that.
Michelle
Mr.
Bryant, we're still negotiating with her, trying to
Well, we
get
welcome-
her. But
We welcome everyone from WNOV. We appreciate the love and support this year for sponsoring us as our media sponsor. And our headliner for the Jazz and Blues stage is
Love, Peace, and Soul.
Love, Peace, and Soul. So we've got WNOV well represented, as well as the gospel stages being hosted by our radio gospel angel, Sharon Jordan from
National award winning.
Absolutely.
Yes.
From WNOV. The Jazz and Blues stage, as stated, is on 4th and Garfield, and then the gospel stage is on 7th and Garfield. The main stage is the R&B stage, will be right on the corner of Garfield's 502, 5th and Garfield.
wow. So you don't look stressed. You look very relaxed. Like it's gonna go without a hitch.
It will. I will say this. Out of all of the years that Garfield Days, Garfield's 502 R&B Festival last year, there was never an incident. This particular event attracts a more mature crowd, and people respect it. And I believe when me and Vice Chair Lisa Smith, we were on last year, they named it, I believe it was Keon You Bet Not Day. So we want to bring that back. You bet not day tomorrow. So
wish
you bet not. So, you know, we want the community as a whole to understand that we can have successful events without the drama, without the fighting, and we can stand proud that this is one event that has been just that, a very successful event in that there has been no incidents.
It goes from the times.
It is from 11 to 8. I will say this year we decided to stagger the stages. So the gospel stage will end at 5:45. The jazz and blues stage will end at 6:45, and the main stage at 7:45.
Wow. Anything. I mean, it's anything. I'm sure you're straight for vendors.
Absolutely. Well, we do have just a few vendor spaces available. And you can email garfields502festival@gmail.com to reach out to find out what vendor spaces are still available. Our stages are full. We have some amazing local artists who will be performing tomorrow. I can't say this enough. This was not just me. You said I don't look stressed. Looks can be deceiving, but I will say we have a very strong board and we have some wonderful individuals who have stepped up to help put this together. This was not just my effort. This was a joint effort.
Miss Melissa Buford. She's the co-chair of Garfield Street Days. How's Lisa looking? I haven't seen Lisa. How's she looking?
Lisa has been, Lisa is my calm. So that is, Lisa's like my best friend, one of my best friends. And she's been my calm during the whole process. She is on the board as well. She's wonderful. As everybody knows Lisa as a stepper, you know, in the stepping community. And, you know, I support her with Stepping with the Stars each year, and she supports me as well. So she has really been holding my arms up through the process. I want to give Lisa a shout out and tell her thank you.
Keith, I want to ask a question now. What does it really look like to put something like this together?
So many of you may know I work for the city. And so I understand the process all too well. It's a lot. You have to have signatures. The neighbors, the majority of the neighbors have to sign off. You have to have permits. You have to understand the technical needs, which I want to give a shout out to Miles Duke Neal. He's our talent director. He works with Kevin Harper to make sure the stages and the equipment and the bands are set. The vendors, I want to give a shout out to Rashonda Stewart, which is Lisa's daughter. So she is just as talented as her mother. Working with different people, different personalities, you have to have strong interpersonal skills to deal with people and help them understand that, you know, this is something that we're doing for the community to promote peace and build economic growth and development. It takes a lot. And not just that in itself, it takes a lot to help people understand, come without the drama, come without the, you know, expecting things to happen. So you have to have security in place. It's a lot. It's a setup breakdown. It's a big event. It takes a lot to put something like this on. Last year, I believe we attracted throughout the day almost 20,000 people, not at one time, but just throughout the day.
And I think that also folks should be mindful that we're going into someone else's neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And the folks there that abut that Hilliard Park, they've been very gracious. Some people don't always respect that, you know, like parking in their driveways. And I mean,
a few folks that live over there, and they actually look forward to it too.
Absolutely.
You know, they get family by, and you know, they like all of the action and camaraderie that's going on. But as you guys are alluding to, yeah, you got to keep it right. You know what I mean?
And I think that anytime, and the fact that we even have to say, don't bring the drama, right? I mean, it just, because some folks.
Well, I will say traditionally, as long as I can recall, that has not been an issue for me.
First of all, it shouldn't be no drama as old as we are.
Yeah.
You are attracted to an older group of people.
It definitely is an older crowd. And to your point, I do want to thank the Hilliard Park neighborhood, because this, you know, it's an inconvenience. It's one day, but they are trying to work with us. So with that being said, just common courtesy. Don't park in front of driveways. Don't park in people's driveway. Don't set up camping yards. And then another point, there's this was an issue last year. We want to make sure that we spread the word. There's a abandoned laundromat. Please don't park there. They will tow your vehicle. We had several vehicles towed that parked in that laundromat. That's where I believe it's between 5th and 6th in North Avenue.
It ain't abandoned.
Somebody owns it. Somebody owns it, and they're watching. So
by Wendy's.
Yes. Please do not park there.
A lot of people don't know, because they're not that old, that that was the original Northside Wide location.
Oh.
When I was a little guy,
the laundromat was?
That lot there is where the old Northside Wide was. Yep. And
then they moved around the corner.
They built they moved into 12th and Garfield 66, 67.
Jeez, Keith, you're old.
Yeah. It was 66, because I was there the first year, 66. We had the riot in 67. And that for a week we couldn't go to day camp.
Were you there? Were you there, Keith? What your name is? DJ?
No, DJ wasn't there.
You know my name? What are you talking about? What my name
like
is?
You forgot my name. You know my name.
He just ain't going.
You ain't gonna get him, man. Look at that discipline, man. But anyway, Melissa, always good seeing you. Thank you. I'll probably see you.
Can I thank our
sure
sponsors real quick? I want to once again thank WNOV, but I want to thank our presenting sponsor, the Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce. Reuben Hopkins has been so supportive. I want to also thank Marjorie Rucker and EDBC, Strive 365, Reads and Go to Gate Funeral Home, Historic King Drive, Educators, Gruber, We Black, We Golf, Planned Parenthood, and Greater Milwaukee Urban League. Thank you so much to our sponsors.
I got one more question before you go.
Sure.
I know I'm gonna give me some barbecue. What other kinds of vendors are you when we speak into food? Because that's what my draw is. But I know we'll have, arts and crafts and things of that nature. But what other kinds of foods can I find down there?
Anything you can think of: Jamaican food, African food. We've got American food. We of course got barbecue. We've got catfish. Our food. Indian food. We actually do. So anything you can think of will be represented tomorrow at the festival.
Okay.
We look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Miss Melissa Buford. Again, she's one of the co-chairs of the Garfield Street Day. It used to be days, but it's day now. And I always have to start being able to say day. Down in beautiful Bronzeville.
It's just a part of how we always said it and how we always know.
You going down to Garfield Street Days? Well, you only gonna be down there one day.
But it's still Garfield Days.
You there on Sunday, you ain't down there for Garfield Street Days.
But not too long ago, we did pick Sunday back up. And then they just didn't do it the following, because we did it on the playground.
Understood. There's conversation, but we've got to really build momentum for the one day and make sure the neighbors are comfortable. This is, as you said, this is their neighborhood.
Right.
So we want to make sure that they're comfortable before we entertain that conversation further.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. You want to do this when we get back, DJ? Want to do 21 lies about the Bible? All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by: never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Raising glasses and hopes. Wine, Women, and Wings Red Carpet Affair celebrates Milwaukee's change makers. Come and be a part of our annual Wine, Women, and Wings Red Carpet Affair, Saturday, July 27th at St. Francis Parish. Embrace a delightful afternoon while supporting our organization and celebrating 9 extraordinary women who have significantly impacted the lives of Milwaukee citizens. Together, let's strive to raise $30,000 for essential programs and services. Enjoy the soothing melodies of jazz music, savory, delectable cuisine, and witness the inspiring unity of exceptional women and men dedicated to a noble cause. Wine, Women, and Wings Red Carpet Affair promises to be an opportunity to meet new friends and reunite with old ones. An unforgettable gathering for a great purpose. For tickets or more information, please call 414-798-0918 or visit claww.org/events.
Attention business owners. Do you want to learn how to grow your business and network with other successful entrepreneurs in Wisconsin? Do you want to understand the resources that can truly help you? If you have answered yes to either question, you should consider attending the Business Council's 26th Annual Luncheon on Thursday, August 22nd from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event, themed Deeply Rooted, featuring special guest Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, host of BET News. Join us as we discuss how to successfully navigate business growth in today's economic climate while celebrating 26 years of helping ethnically diverse businesses make the connection in Wisconsin. To learn more or to register for the event, visit tbcmkeevents.com. This event is sponsored by our partners at Associated Bank, U.S. Bank, Diamond Disc International, Fusion Integrated Solutions, and of course, the one and only WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM. Again, business owners, visit tbcmkeevents.com to register or call 414-287-4108 for more information, as walk-ins cannot be accepted.
Why choose the water park capital of the world for a grown-up getaway? It's all there. Entertainment is there. Nightlife is there. Shopping, spas, and wineries are there. Been there, done that? More like been there, still haven't done that, or that. Golf? Hey, nice swing you got there. Dining? You'll be seated right over there. Ziplining? Hang in there! See what I did there? Wisconsin Dells. See you there. Go to wisdells.com and start planning your grown-up getaway today.
Your family, your friends, your community, or maybe even you. Be there for them. The overdose crisis is real. If you or someone you know uses drugs, test them. Get free fentanyl test strips and Narcan by calling 414-286-6800 or visiting milwaukee.gov/harm reduction. Be there for them. Be there for you. Help prevent overdose. This message is brought to you by the City of Milwaukee Health Department. Call 414-286-6800 for more information on free Narcan and fentanyl test strips.
Listen, everybody. Listen up good now. Listen, everybody. Listen up good now.
Now, back to Community Voice with your host, Keith Parris and Devon Jones, DJ The Protege.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice, and Melissa, man, whew, but it should be very nice. All right,
some of these ain't even lies though.
No, I'm gonna get to the Bible stuff, but let me do this real quick. Someone texted me and said, "Do you really think this country will vote for a black woman for president?" And that's including those white Democrats. They will let this country go down. I'm assuming go down first. Yeah. Go down. Well, who do you think will beat Trump? I got the whole weekend to work it out. I will have an answer on Monday. I will.
I mean, I will say that. I mean, he is probably one of the longest of long shots. But when we interviewed Wes Moore, he really impressed me. I was able to ask him some questions. Keith was able to asked him some questions, and he answered them all. He didn't beat around the bush. He seemed honest, and obviously he's well read. And
Great
And
book too. If you haven't read that book, it's a great
and
book.
you know, one thing that often is a gold star point for, you know, conservative white or rural white constituents and individuals is he's from the military. You know, whenever people tout that they are from the military, that usually gives them an edge. And so he's definitely a long shot, but I even text Keith that you
His
know,
name came up. I think it was him.
barring any scandal, you know, if he could stay scandal free, he could run for president.
Gretchen, what the Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. Gavin Newsom has always been out there. Matt Idle. I think he had some real things because he really looks California,
right?
And there's a lot of people who react very strongly to California. So even though Kamala Harris is from what, California? Yeah.
Yep.
So we haven't had a president from California since who?
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Very good. Very good. All right. This came up today, and you know, I try not to be controversial.
I texted him and I said, "Oh, you really trying to start a fire with this one?"
But it came up today. Open. This came up on my news break. And it's this is all right. This is done by Miss Hazel Scott. Oh, she got a great name. Everybody remember the great jazz pianist Hazel Scott, married to Adam Clayton Powell. But this is not the same Hazel Scott.
Really?
All right. So the title of this article is Holy Hoax, 21 Biblical Lies You Probably Believe. Okay. And let me just do her opening. The Bible is one of the most discussed and debated books in history, and on WNOV 860. Yet many common beliefs about it are more myth than fact. How many of these misconceptions have you heard before? All right. All right. Number one. The Bible was written in one language. The Bible was written in one language. True or false? I think that answer is false.
I noticed. It's
Okay,
clearly false.
So then you can't get this
I
wrong.
didn't think that you was asking me. I thought you was
Well,
asking
folks,
the
if you
public.
like to be a public, certainly want to 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Certainly my Baptist friends should be calling in, being able to answer these questions because we're people of the book. Because if nothing else, Baptist people know the book.
I mean, people within the book were from many different countries.
All right. So was the Bible written in one language? The answer to that question is no. Many people believe the Bible was written in one language, but it was actually composed in Hebrew, Aramaic, which is a is a dialect of Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. I don't know why they didn't, because we have the Vulgate, which is Latin. They said that the linguistic diversity, it has everything to do with translations. And you saw the evolution of the Christian church and putting together, and certainly on the Constantine and the Council of Nicaea, where they put together the canon, which is the Bible that we look at today. Now, I want you all to answer this question, so please feel free. There are no wrong answers. All right.
There is a wrong answer.
No, there's not really, because they ask what you believe. Okay. The Bible forbids all alcohol consumption. The Bible forbids all alcohol consumption.
I don't think anybody's gonna get this wrong.
414-444-5250. The Bible forbids all alcohol consumption. Is that true?
I don't think anyone's gonna get this wrong because
you think? No, nobody's calling, so I guess
whenever you hear individuals bring up Jesus, they always bring up this specific miracle.
His first one.
Okay. There's no.
All right. Okay. The answer is the Bible does not strictly forbid alcohol consumption. It warns against drunkenness.
Right.
But it includes many references to wine as part of the daily life and celebration. As a matter of fact, DJ just alluded to it. The first miracle Jesus performed, as recorded in the Bible, was the wedding at Cana, and he turned water into wine,
right.
Which is interesting because those of us who are Baptists and those of us who are missionary Baptists, that whole strain of missionary Baptists, even though a lot of Black Baptist churches will call themselves missionary Baptists, I don't think they always understand what the original missionary Baptist church was. Really were white churches, very fundamentalist, right? I mean, very strictly believed in the inerrancy of the word of the Bible. There are no errors in the Bible. A whole lot of other different things. But one of the things they have, as a matter of fact, if those of you all who read Church Covenant, that Church Covenant was created by the missionary Baptists. And in that Church Covenant, it discourages people from using alcohol beverages in the Baptist Covenant. We read it every first Sunday. Adam and Eve ate an apple. Now, I think Adam and Steve ate the apple. It was Adam.
You're funny. They never really brought up anything about Adam and Steve neither.
Adam and Steve was the one who ate the apple. The fruit eaten by Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is never specified as an apple. The idea of apple likely comes from Western art and literature rather than the biblical text itself. It said fruit from the forbidden tree.
Right.
Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. Al calls in all the time making this particular. There's no biblical evidence that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. This misconception stems from historical misinterpretations and has been perpetuated over the centuries, right? Some people are saying the woman that was caught in adultery was supposed to be Mary Magdalene, but people are not sure.
Even then, that don't make her a prostitute.
Right. Yeah, she was caught in adultery. It didn't mean that she was necessarily a prostitute. Thank you. The Bible supports modern capitalism. Oh, yeah. There's a whole lot of people believe this one. As a matter of fact, that's deeply rooted in Calvinism. It was interesting to see Franklin Graham last night.
Oh my God, I was almost disgusted.
Yeah, Franklin Graham, as everyone knows, is
I think I was disgusted
of the late Billy Graham,
Graham,
who I have not been a fan of for many years. And then when Billy Graham died, I think in 2020, Franklin Graham said that his dad had voted for Donald Trump. Okay. The reason why I bring up Billy Graham is that Billy Graham got his start doing, they were a group of businessmen who came in and created the organization that would later become Billy Graham Ministries. And they were really about supporting capitalism, right? Really about capitalism. So when you see Billy Graham and everyone, because, there were so many Black people that loved Billy Graham, need to understand Billy Graham was part of that business elite, white capitalism that was America. As a matter of fact, I think it was 1959, 1958. There was a crusade he was having in Texas. He wanted to invite Dr. Martin Luther King to come. But he also had on the same program as Dr. King, this arch segregationist. And he asked him to remove him. Billy Graham said he wouldn't. Dr. King declined his invitation. So the Bible does not advocate for any specific economic system. Its teachings focus on ethical living and community welfare rather than promoting capitalism or socialism, two forms of economy that didn't exist during the time of the Bible. So both of these are European creations in terms of a monetary system.
And just to make a full caveat, just like the Constitution, the Bible did never considered any modern concepts that are going on right now. Clearly, because it was written so long ago.
But these things didn't even exist.
Right.
And again, we need to remember, even though the creation of Christianity is primarily European, the source of the Bible is Semitic, right? So people need to understand geographically what was going on and what it was where they didn't exist. Now I know this one, everybody know this one, right? The Bible condemns homosexuality unequivocally. I'm gonna just let that stay out there for a minute. The Bible condemns homosexuality unequivocally, without equivalence. All right.
It's unequivocally.
Unequivocally. Say it one more time for me.
Unequivocally.
Appreciate that. Now, there are a lot of people really believe that the Bible is very clear on its condemnation of homosexuality. But no, the interpretations of biblical texts concerning homosexuality is highly contested. Many scholars argue that the context and translation issues mean these texts do not address modern understanding of sexuality. So there are people who say the Bible condemns it. This author is saying that we need to put it in context of time and certainly our understanding of now I would venture to say that for many, especially those who are practicing Christians, I don't think that attitudes have quite aligned with our scientific understanding of human sexuality. I think that there is a divide there. And that was obviously the other day when I got in a conversation. And at the end of the conversation, the brother said that I must be gay. And my reaction was, if I got offended, and I didn't, but if I got offended, I would be saying, in effect, it's something wrong with being gay, right? If that was offensive.
No, that's offensive, man.
No, it's not offensive.
That's
why? Because first of all, I'm not.
Right. So
And
that's
two,
offensive.
No, it wouldn't be offensive. It'd be offensive if being gay was negative.
No, that's not that.
Yeah, that's how I'm taking it. Because that's how I'm looking at it.
I'm looking at it as we talk about sports all the time.
Right.
If someone say, oh, you was a terrible player, blah blah blah, you will be a little offended off of that.
Well, that's true. I'd be
Stop being
offended.
funny. I'm just saying.
Tell me stop being funny on Friday, man. It's Friday. Tell me stop being funny on Friday.
Like if somebody, whatever, you were a terrible manager or whatever.
Okay.
It's something
Well,
that would offend you.
Let me give you another thing that people used to say. And in the South, where they were progressive-minded white folks, the insult that non-progressive-minded white folks would hurl at a white person was, "You a nigger lover." Should they get offended? No. Get offended at the use of the word nigger, but don't get offended that I love but a black person because
if they didn't, then they would be offended.
What do you mean?
If they didn't rock with black people, then they would be offended.
Okay, but we're talking about people who obviously from their behavior that they show a certain affinity to the struggle of descendants of enslaved Africans, and they call you a nigger lover. To be offended with someone.
But I mean, that's what you're saying. But I'm saying, but if you are, then it's not offensive.
But if you're not, it doesn't necessarily have to be offensive. If the way that the term gay is being used.
So if I say you're small-minded,
okay,
that's offensive.
If I'm being small-minded, whether I'm offended or not, I'm still being small-minded.
But if you feel that you aren't,
okay, but that don't mean I'm not. Just because I feel that I'm not.
The point is, someone who is trying to sling offensive terms to you, if you ascribe to that, then that it wouldn't be offensive. If you do not ascribe to that, then that is typically offensive.
Should I attach negativity to one being gay or homosexual? Should there be a negativity that I tied to that? Because
I think the term that we are hung up on is negative or offensive.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
I don't think that it's negative to be homosexual.
Okay.
But if you aren't homosexual and for someone to say that you are, that individual could be taken back. Like, what you mean? I'm not gay.
Okay. But then I back up. I'm not gay because I'm not gay. I'm not offended because you call me gay, because I don't think being gay is a bad thing. Now, that's just me. Now, I know there are people out there who feel that being gay is a bad thing.
Right.
I don't. So when a person calls me gay, first of all, I'm not gay, but two,
But
I'm not
when
offended.
You say you don't think being gay is a bad thing. Are you basing that on Keith's personal ideology, or because there's certainly no scripture that backs that up?
Backs what up?
The fact that you feel that it's a bad thing. Because if you go biblical, then it's a bad thing.
Yeah, but the same scripture or the same groups of scripture that identify homosexual as being a bad thing, homosexuality as being a bad thing, is the same one that says you can't eat lobster. So, I mean, 613 codes there. I mean, part of what drives that is.
So what scriptures say that that's a bad thing?
Well, if you go to, it's in Leviticus, Deuteronomy, you shouldn't lay down.
No, I'm talking about, he was talking about homosexuality.
That's what I'm saying.
And what the thing is basically saying, which I kind of alluded to, is our modern day interpretations of things, they never took into consideration, because a lot of those things never even existed.
Right.
And so
I'm sure there was a group of people around talking about,
like, what lens are we?
So there's always been
taking
this
of?
Myth, I guess, if you will, and I won't say it's a myth, but maybe even a misconception. What was Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed for?
Her lack of hospitality. People should go to Ezekiel 43.
Mm-hmm.
They always said that it was because of homosexuality.
They said because of the men coming to rape the angels,
right?
That was based on them being gay. Some of those men could, but we talked about it the other day. In military, one of the things in ancient times that they would do was they would rape people to humiliate them as sexual violence. I think because of that. Again, Ezekiel says, and even Jesus refers to it, he says it was her lack of hospitality and the fact they built where they built, which had a whole lot to do with it. It was a poor choice geographically to build on, because they were on some land that was subject to earthquakes and other things. So how it lines up. But I think, and I appreciate this hearing, how we should understand human sexuality now is very different than when the people were writing the Bible back in the day. So now where you are on that, that's where you are. Okay. All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You on there?
Family.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The question for you, brothers, y'all were talking earlier in the program about the voting piece, or at least a portion of it, and voting for Democrat, Republican, what have you. But I'm curious, what do you perceive people to be hearing when they hear the Republican platform 2025 talking about abolishing the Constitution, for example, and other things within that policy document that will affect the rights that people have, but particularly the Constitution piece? What do you perceive our people, particularly Black people, who are supporting Trump? Because he has said that he wants to do away with the Constitution. So I'm curious as to what you brothers think is being missed there. Because I see it being something that will give us experiences that our ancestors had with Jim Crow.
I don't fully understand your question, but we've often had this conversation of what would happen if they were to redo the Constitution. And remember, all things would be on the table, right? But also we would have to take into consideration that the very people that would be making those decisions would be people who are elected officials. It wouldn't just be one singular person. Now, also, we would have to take into consideration that right now we have me, Keith, and Debo. We've had many debates. Very rarely have we agreed on a certain topic. Maybe we have, but it's not often. Now, you want to couple that in with, I want to say it will be upwards of at least 30 or more people, and it may be hundreds of people that will be making a decision on creating a constitution. There will be a lot of disagreements, and I don't know where we will get to on saying like, yes, this would be in our constitution outside of the normal stuff as far as what we have now, like, you shouldn't kill, you shouldn't steal, things of that nature.
Well, I think when you talk about what it would take to change the Constitution, you would have to, you'd have to have it approved by both houses of Congress. And I don't know what the threshold is. I don't know if it's 2/3 in order for it to be a constitutional amendment. And then a majority of states would then have to vote to approve that constitutional amendment. So, the mechanics of changing the Constitution is more difficult than people going in. Now, do you have a president who,
I guess.
Well, but to do away with, but how would you do away with it?
Right.
I mean, he could declare it, but then he would have to declare martial law. Martial law then suspends your constitutional rights temporarily, right? When they do martial law, so your freedom of movement, assembly, all those things can be affected when you do martial law. I understand the fear out there, but it would have to be that it had to be more than Donald Trump, or it had to be more than whoever. So it would require those mechanisms in order to change the Constitution. Now, if he does a coup where you go in and the military supports the coup, we got a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to say that.
Right. And I guess that's the piece that I'm really targeting, because with what the Supreme Court has done regarding the immunity piece, right? So basically, the stage is being set for there to be an authoritarian style type of government.
But you know what, Craig, that's not what that decision really did. I understand what the liberals and progressives were saying, but look, the president has always had a certain level of immunity, right? I mean, that because, for again, I'll give you a great example. They wanted to try George W. Bush as a war criminal because of his execution of the war. You give the president a certain level of latitude. The issue was specifically as it relates to Donald Trump and whether or not he had immunity, right, in terms of some of the acts that he committed, even when he left the office. But they're going back saying that, look, Obama had the power. For example, when Obama ordered the killing of bin Laden, they violated Pakistani airspace to the point that they did not call, right? They did not even call or alert the Pakistanis until they were leaving. I'm saying the president will do things on behalf of national interests and national security, and there should be some exemption for that. It doesn't say it's absolute. People have tied that absolute to it, but it has given a little bit more, a wider berth. But presidents always enjoyed a certain level of immunity in terms of actions that they took.
I recognize that, and I agree with you that has been there. But I still think that what we see happening with a president,
I think even with the Republican Party, they can't even get to agree really. So with the Constitution, it's going to be more than just the Republican Party, because it's going to be individuals that were elected.
Well, one of the things that the Dems are talking about now is doing a constitutional amendment to codify a woman's right to an abortion, right? Now, it would have to get through the House and the Senate, and then it would have to go out, and again, a majority of states would then have to approve that constitutional change, or to add that to I don't know what that would be, the 30th Amendment to the Constitution. So I know the fear people have, but that's a fear we should have with any president, that you could have someone there.
Guys, we're up against the break. We want to try to squeeze one more caller in.
I hear you. And I agree that the Constitution and the Congress has to be in place, right? Both sides of the House, right?
Right.
But with someone who is seeking to change the structure of our government, and they're saying that with this 2025 document, I think is where the difference lies in when we hear somebody saying, this is what I want to do, and that's what we're headed towards doing.
And a lot of that
And what
stuff
are
is
people
within
hearing?
the parameters of the Constitution. To go in and say how you want to change how the Department of Education operates as an
They're talking
entity
about
in government
abolishing the
is
Constitution and putting this thing in place.
right. But what I'm saying is that when we read it, understand they're talking about like bureaucracy and civil service, right? Those are things that are within the power of the executive branch already. They're just going to go and do things that other executives never thought that they were going to do. Let me do this,
I don't
man.
see how this country puts the power that it has in that office into the hands of this person and the people.
But you have to look at it as the office.
Because I know this is an extended type of discussion. So I appreciate you hearing my question.
All right, man. Appreciate you too. But it doesn't matter because Joe Biden said, I have the power. I just choose not to use it. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
What's good, man?
What's happening?
Good, y'all.
All right,
Good
yourself.
morning. Good morning. Hey, I know y'all up against the break, so I'll be quick. I was gonna try and verify for DJ. What's up, DJ?
What's going on?
On that on his he's trying to figure out why the gay situation would be offensive and how that would work. And Keith, you came close. Basically, DJ, what it is it's whether whatever they're referring you as is offensive to you. So Keith's point is, if you have no problem with gay people, but you aren't it, you won't be upset if somebody referring to you one. So I would use like vegan, maybe a vegan. So I mean, you must be a vegan. You don't like steak. You don't like this.
What you call me?
Might be like a vegan, man.
Vegan? What you
want a vegan?
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Vegan lover.
So if you offended, basically it's whether you have a problem with that.
Right.
Is whether you have a problem being referred to that. Keith, you will recognize this. We don't mind being called Africans, but back then in your day, Parkman, we called you an African booty scratcher. With Tarzan swinging around. You didn't like that.
As black as that school was, you know we didn't like that because we were blacker than blacker than blacker than blacker than black. Black. I mean, just deep, dark black.
Yeah, real talk.
You can't get no blacker than that.
Man, don't be calling me African. Don't be calling me African.
You call, and really, he ain't lying. You could be called African, you be offended, and if they called you black before say a lot of black, they getting ready to fight.
For the James Brown song.
There you go. Thank you, James Brown. You saved a whole lot of violence, brother. All right. You listen
Get to that break.
Appreciate you, Doc B.
All right, man. Listening to Community Voice. We're going to take the last break of the program. Oh, we're going to go. All right. All right, so let me thank DJ. Debo, thank you. Carvey, see you. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of our listeners tomorrow.
Man, I got to tell you, I'm really disappointed. All kind of passes were given to me today.
Because that brother is disciplined. He stays on point. He stays on his square. You can't move him. Can he move you? Can he move you, DJ?
So did you give out any passes today?
Peace, love.
He said so. All right, appreciate everybody. Hey, good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend, and as always, go from this place in peace.